What is up, DTube Steam Blockchain? So today I want to talk about, is the new media actually natural media? Let me explain. So first of all, what do I mean with new media? So you probably already heard the word social media. And usually what people refer to when they talk about social media is Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. That is usually what they refer to as social media. Uh, so, are we moving from social media to natural media? And let me explain that. So, when people have been on these platforms, maybe 10 years now, YouTube, maybe 15 years, people have been on these platforms a very, very long time. People have done all the tricks. You've seen it on the Instagram. People are doing the selfie shots. They're doing the same location. You sort of know what you're gonna do. On YouTube, maybe you have a gaming channel or something like that. You sort of know what you're gonna do, and it's not that you can you sort of know the script, and you sort of know that it's usually a one-way discussion. Usually, is the person is doing something to get a lot of attention, but the roles are pretty clear usually that that person is the Lord and you are just a passive observer. While, same as we've had this a long period on Twitter, for example, when people just sharing links or maybe using quotes, and in a way you can say they're being social, right? But what if with this decentralized sort of world, like if I take DTube for example, it feels very fresh when I look at the content because it seems to be more natural, more let's say realness. You can also call it realness. You can call it natural. You can call it real, but it feels fresh. It feels like a fresh life, and it's actually enjoyable to watch because it comes from a different way of looking at the world where a lot of the content doesn't really have to be so scripted. It's like, let's say you look at the existence and something that happens with, for example, Instagram and YouTube is people feel this obsessed need that everything needs to be extremely edited and scripted, and it needs to look exactly in a way. It's almost as they want to do it as well creation, like use regular natural stuff. It's impure, and if you want to do it the way we are doing it on YouTube or on Instagram, you have to follow this. You have to follow. We have already figured out the formula. We know exactly how we're going to do things. We know exactly how we're going to edit things, and we know exactly what you need to say, and you need to follow this formula. While yeah, it sort of in some ways for me, it kind of eventually can become almost a sick idea that just doing regular stuff, just showing creation or just showing a human being talking or something like that, that almost can, in those kind of cultures, it can almost start to look as impure. That, well, this is not good enough. and and this idea also it gets combined with abundance, because when people looked at stuff as more scarce, they had to sort of edit it in a certain way, and they couldn't really show all of the creation, like they have to hide stuff. They can't really say exactly their opinion or something like that. They can't really show exactly how a city is or something like that. Because it's so you can very easily get this taboo thing where people sort of feel pressured in a way of acting in a certain way. While if you combine abundance, new technology, and all of this, and decentralized systems, decentralized value systems that doesn't depend on the masses, on the mainstream masses, you can sort of create this space, let's say, where a person feel they can be natural, they can be themselves, they can be the human being that they actually are. And it feels like that can create a more engaging, more fun, interesting space. Because what I feel with the machine learning on other places, it tries to know what the human being actually wants. While I never think it's actually going to be able to figure that out, because it doesn't know what is in the human heart. The artificial intelligence cannot figure that out. And I think they're using a lot of artificial intelligence on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, and it feels extremely robotic. And it's almost like, I mean, I don't have evidence for the soul or anything like that, but it seems almost like the soul eventually can be sucked out of a place, and it just feels like something is missing. You can still find some of that realness still on those other places, but usually it's not 100% raw like the way you actually want it. Um, so I do wonder if these new decentralized systems eventually will lead to more natural media. You can call it natural media. It's just a word. Like you don't have to take it like super serious, but it's this idea that I mean, people talked about it so much in the past, like, oh, be yourself and stuff like that, but it hasn't really worked. And there probably is a lot of reasons why it hasn't really worked. And also a lot of reasons still why it can take a long time to get the world to a space where more people can feel they can be themselves. Because a lot of people have used that word in many ways, they've sort of corrupted it. But I like the concept of natural media, mm, where stuff can be just real. And the irony of that is that can eventually actually create better stuff, because that's actually what people actually decide in the first place. I should say this also. We don't know if that's going to keep up, especially with artificial intelligence. And I mean, if it becomes super good and people can create their own anything, we don't know really how that's going to play out. But it seems that it's some aspect that you cannot explain about the human being that makes stuff very natural and feel very real and authentic, that humans eventually sort of always gravitate back towards. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious how the artificial intelligence cannot figure that out. It's hilarious. He cannot figure out, let's say, the source of where all of this stuff is coming from. It's used as logical, it's used as the intellect. It cannot figure out the source of anything. But what it can do is it can play around with the data. But humans themselves, they can recognize other human beings because they know that aspect, that there's some aspect that the AI cannot figure out. Now that might just be that might not be real. I may be wrong about that, but if I look at it, it kind of seems as that's how it is. That there's something with human beings that is kind of magical that you never will be able to explain. Never, ever, ever, never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever, ever. People will try. People will try, but they will not figure it out because they're using the wrong tool. Maybe if they experience it, but then we're playing in another realm. That's another dimension than the dimension that people usually play in, which is just logic. So, natural media. What is the cool aspect of natural media? It is that everyone can sort of do it. And that usually many times it's so simple that people usually walk all over it. Like they don't even realize it because it's so easy. It's so there. Like if they're just being natural, they're just being real. If they're doing just what makes sense, like it's so easy in many ways. But I think we're going to see this big sort of movement eventually, at least the next couple of years, of more natural sort of media, especially in video. It can also happen in text, it can also happen in photos, but I think it's harder in those things, mainly because I think it makes video makes people more self-aware, let's say, or more conscious, I think, or more aware of themselves. Well, I think with text, yes, you can be super conscious and do that. You can be super conscious also when you're doing photos, but I think it's also easier to sort of get sucked in to the stuff that has been promoted so much and sort of just follow that script instead of doing something, let's say, natural. Even though everything probably is natural, but you can probably understand what I mean if you're looking at the old centralized platforms and how it just feels like something is missing. Maybe the human being is missing. um, I tried, even me that's super interested about humans, I tried to figure out humans and I realized you can't. You just gotta live your life and be your best. Yeah, so natural. Natural. Fun word. Have a great day, DTube, Steem blockchain. I hope this video made some form of sense. Have a great day, everyone.